Here is the transcript rewritten in the same style and format. Here is what just happened. And I need you to really understand how big this is. Over the past year, Trump pushed country after country into signing trade deals with the United States. Japan, South Korea, the European Union, India, Malaysia, Vietnam, Indonesia, Bangladesh. More than a dozen of the most powerful economies on Earth, all facing the same threat. Tariffs so high they could shutter entire industries. The message behind every deal was unmistakable. Come to the table and give us what we want, or face economic consequences unlike anything you have seen before. And they signed, every single one. This week, those countries started tearing those deals apart, and the one country that refused to sign from the very beginning, Canada, is now standing stronger than every single nation that gave in. Let me walk you through exactly what is happening right now, because this is not just about trade. This is about every Canadian farmer, every Canadian worker, every Canadian family that was told for a year that our country could not survive without giving Washington what it wanted. The proof that they were wrong is unfolding this week across 3 continents. By the end of this video, you are going to see how the trap was built, how it is now collapsing, and why Canada's refusal may be the smartest decision any country has made this decade. Here is what just happened. 3 days ago, Malaysia became the first country to say out loud what every trade minister on earth was thinking. They looked at the deal they signed, they looked at every concession they gave, and their trade minister said the words now echoing through every government on earth: null and void. Not on hold, not under review, null and void. The first country to rip up a Trump trade deal to his face. And do you know what made it even more devastating? Malaysia is now paying a lower rate without the deal than it was paying with it. They gave up everything and ended up worse off than countries that gave nothing. And it did not stop there. India, which had committed to a deal worth $500 billion, has paused. $500 billion. India's officials said they will not move forward until Washington can explain what legal authority it even has left. While Canadian trade partnerships are growing every week, India's $500 billion commitment to Washington is frozen. That is not a setback. That is a collapse. The European Union froze its deal entirely. The chair of the European Parliament's Trade Committee said, and these are their words, "A key instrument used to negotiate these agreements is no longer available. The situation is more uncertain than it has ever been." Malaysia, India, the European Union, 3 countries, 3 continents, all arriving this week at the exact position Canada held from day one. But here is where it gets even worse for Washington. They did not just lose the deals. They went after the countries that obeyed. Brand new investigations launched in March against countries that had already signed. Think about that. These countries gave concessions, changed their laws, did everything that was asked of them, and now they face higher rates than Canada pays, with new investigations on top of it. That is not a partnership. That is punishment for obedience. Trump responded the way he always does. He posted on Truth Social, "Any country that walks away will face consequences. Buyer beware." But with what? With what law? His own Supreme Court ruled he never had the authority. With what tariff? His replacement expires in 5 months, right before the midterms. With what leverage? The whole world just watched his strategy collapse. He built everything on fear, and the fear is gone. Now let me show you how the trap was built. Because when you see what these countries gave up and what Canada refused to give, you will understand why this moment matters so much. Tariff rates of 47%, 50%, some countries faced even higher, and one by one they broke. Malaysia came to the table. And do you know what they had to give up? Things Canada never gave up: market access, regulatory changes, concessions that took generations to build, gone in months. Japan signed and gave things Canada never had to give. South Korea signed and lost protections Canada still has. Vietnam, Indonesia, Bangladesh all gave away things Canadians kept because our government refused to be at that table. And India was about to give the most. $500 billion, entire sectors thrown open. Russian oil imports halted. While Canadian energy producers were building partnerships across Asia, India was handing over its independence. That is not a trade deal. That is a ransom. And here is what Canada was doing while all of this was happening. Carney did not go to Washington. He went to Beijing. He stood at Davos and told the world the old relationship is over. Then he backed it up. 12 new partnerships, 4 continents, 6 months. Canadian grain farmers who were being squeezed, getting new markets. Canadian energy that had nowhere to go, getting new buyers across Asia. Canadian seafood, Canadian lumber, Canadian manufactured goods, real products from real towns getting real doors opened. They called it reckless. Do you know what happened? It turned out to be the smartest move any leader on earth made this year. And here is why the trap collapsed. Trump's own judges turned on him. 2 of them, justices he personally put on that bench, told him he never had the authority to force any of it. Not that he went too far, that he had no right to do it at all. His own people, his own court, everything he built was built on nothing. And what replaced it made the betrayal complete. A flat rate. Same for every country, deal or no deal. If you signed and gave up everything, same rate as a country that refused and gave nothing. The concession stayed. The benefit vanished. Do you understand what that means for every Canadian who was told this country should have just cooperated? Cooperation was the trap. Give everything, get nothing, and still get punished. And Canada, same rate as everyone else. No concessions, no lost leverage, no promises to undo. 12 new partnerships already building. While countries that cooperated scrambled to take back what they gave away, Canada does not have a single concession to walk back, not one. Think about Canadian farmers who were told they would lose everything. Those farmers now have new markets on 4 continents. Think about Canadian workers told their jobs depended on giving in. Think about every Canadian family that watched the threats pile up month after month. Canada was strong enough. Canada saw it coming. I want to be clear. Canada is not free from all tariffs. Steel and aluminum still carry real costs for Canadian workers. This is not about gloating. The question is not whether we have challenges. The question is whether you face them with your sovereignty intact or after you have given everything away. Here is what cannot be undone. The court ruling stands. The torn-up deals are finished. Canada's partnerships are signed and growing. Every country that obeyed is scrambling. One country saw this before anyone else. One country refused when refusing looked reckless. That country was not reckless. That country was right. And the whole world is only now catching up to where Canada has been standing all along.